Yo, 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 ladies and gentlemen.
We're here.
We're here.
Oh, shit.
Another beautiful Tuesday.
Folks, yeah, it's that time again.
It's that time. Today's actually a very special day as well. Do you guys know what today is?
It's 808.
It's not.
It is 808 day.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy 808 day.
Dude,
everybody
shout out 808s.
out there.
And also, it's a double holiday. Apparently, it's International Cat Day. So,
Okay, I'm down
really?
with that.
Yeah.
I like cats.
We are
808s and
a
cats.
bunch of cats
They're
sitting
both-
right
both,
here.
you know.
So
Bunch of cool cats
cool
over
cats. Folks, welcome back to the Producer Lounge, brought to you by Always 400. This is our broadcast. It's our show about music production. The four of us are going to sit here and bullshit with you. And by four of us, I mean including our guest.
here. Ooh.
Please welcome Von Klaus, ladies and gentlemen.
let's go back again, baby.
Back again. Episode 3 with you, something like
I think
that.
it's the third time I've been on.
Yeah, but you've never been on alone.
No,
Yeah.
no. So this is fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
First solo EP. Let's go.
Yeah, how are you?
Doing good. Just been working
Nice.
on a bunch of random shit. You know, not really trying to like adhere to like what I feel like my mind needs to do. Just like
Right.
kind of works out. I'm working on a lot of ghetto tech. Just
Sick.
fun.
Weird.
You know, beats, shit like that.
Fuck
just
yeah.
random crabs experimenting. So
Exploring genres and shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
it's
right.
No reason to keep yourself in a box.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Sure.
I
Nice.
love it. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, literally every week you come over and you're like, "Oh, I did this genre today."
Well, it's
Did
also
this style.
new for me now, and it's fun to explore how different people structure their different songs and shit like that. I don't know. You get
I agree.
wildly different structuring, even though it sounds kind of the same with like a ghetto tech beat as opposed to like just a normal like tech house beat.
True.
Like the way they do the intros and shit like that. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying a lot of the more nitty picky structuring for songs instead
Yeah,
of
it's pretty
just
fun.
being like, oh well, you got your 16 intro and 32 drop and just doing shit like that.
Right,
It's really nice to change that shit up a bit.
right.
Hell yeah. Are you saving? Are you saving tracks?
Of course, I'm not on.
We're looking at you,
Lame.
Blake. We're looking at you.
Actually lame.
It's
Yeah, why would you save a project?
Yeah, it's
No,
the new
just
it's
one-
the new
just-
cool thing.
just
Don't
one,
save.
Just one and done. You know.
Yeah, one and done.
Who needs to come back?
Call it good there. Send it off to Spotify and get 18 million plays on something.
Shout
you know?
out, Amoeba.
Shout out to Amoeba. You're a goddamn legend for that. So sick.
I love it. Sick, dude. Yeah, I mean, structuring can be a whole podcast on its own. But yeah, it's good to shake it up. There's plenty of like room, I think, in the electronic universe for like different structures. Like
Yeah.
there's your basics, obviously, and then there's like some wily shit. But like you can kind of stay within the basic building blocks of what EDM song should kind of be, and you can kind of
Right.
fuck around
You
within
don't need
that.
to do some crazy experiments. with
No,
shit,
no, but
It's
you
just
can-
nice to not hear the same.
Right, you can have
intro
like a
over and
pre-chorus
over. Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
just having your bridge
The pre-chorus,
64
yeah.
bars. You could have like a pre-chorus on the last 16
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Like that's like a pre-drop or a pre-build-up kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
there's like a bunch of shit
There's
you
no
could do.
reason why you can't have two build-ups in your intro,
Right,
right?
it's true.
The rhythm guys love it.
Right.
They'll do
Right, right.
4 build-ups. Just build up into a build-up, into a
Each
psych out,
one
into a build-up, into
Yes,
the drop.
yes.
It's a
they will.
completely different song.
Right, yeah. The intro is always like this melodic, beautiful thing, and then
Then it's like, oh, here's my bass.
Yeah. And fuck
I
you.
fucking tricked you.
yeah, it's like
Listen to these fucking wubs.
not sure what either one has to do with the other, but
It's
the
there.
snare drum build in between really glued them together. You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's there. People are down with it. So.
Yeah. Hey.
It's kind of one of those things like similar to when you're playing poker and you're already like really deep in a hand and you've put in a bunch of money and you're like, well, I can't bail now.
Right.
They're like, oh, well, I got you this far into the song. You can't just bail. Like, might as well listen.
Nah, I can
Listen to my drop.
fucking
Nah, bluff.
swipe.
Bluff and fold.
Swipe.
Yeah.
I'll take it though if it's a
Yeah.
Mr. Peacock tune, you know. And it's la, and there's girl.
Yeah.
Fuck hell yeah.
Style at
You
that
can't.
point.
That nothing
It
goes with
Right.
in all reality. So you got to do
elaborate at that
something,
point,
you
for
know.
sure.
And he's making it work, or like he's trying.
Oh,
so like,
fuck
Right.
yeah.
Oh, he's killing it.
mhm,
Dr. Peacock is fucking the man.
yeah.
Shout out,
Legend.
Dr. Peacock.
Legend.
Come on the pod
Yeah.
next time you're in Denver.
Yeah.
Please come play fucking Gabber in Denver, please.
Yeah, mission.
Oh,
Like,
dude,
oh.
Dr.
Yeah.
Peacock at Mission there'd be like 30 people there.
I know. I was gonna say there's no chance.
Yeah,
There's no chance.
I mean, that kind of
The-
sounds more fun though, just like 30 people, right?
Well,
the
sure.
Upbeats had
Like,
like
you-
But
30
he's not
people.
gonna come.
No, he's not. He's
Yeah.
not.
He'd have to come to like Bar Standard, which would be a bummer.
Where did the Upbeats play?
Fucking vinyl basement.
Oh, dude.
Vinyl.
Basement.
I've never been in the vinyl basement.
I saw.
It looks just like the upstairs. The ceiling's just smaller.
Yeah,
It looked
lower ceiling.
Yeah, it's like the
shittier
same
speakers.
layout. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cooler stage, I think.
that's fair.
It's a little more intimate.
I think I think it's cool.
It's
It's the
Cooler,
coolest
yeah.
room in the building.
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
It's
what's
just the sound sucks.
Yeah.
But whatever.
But it's quiet
It's fine.
enough for you to be able to like still talk, so it kind of doesn't really matter.
Oh.
You know, it's not so loud that you're like, these are so bad. Like, Jesus, the speakers.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, it's quiet enough. You're like, I can tell they don't push it because it probably sounds like shit.
yeah, that's such a shame for someone like the Upbeats to play too.
Yeah, he was having a great time.
It
though.
also
I'm
kind
sure.
of makes
He
sense
killed it.
since they're more UK. That they're
And-
not going to be having some giant venue here. And
right,
Sure.
Random
and it seemed
Denver.
kind of a
Yeah.
random one-off
They just
thing.
felt
Like
like
he was
doing
like,
it,
"Hey, I'm
so-
gonna be in town. I'd like to make some extra cash. Do you have any
Sick.
fucking slots?"
I mean, that's sick that you guys fucking saw them. dude.
dude,
That
it is.
sounded
It
fucking
was sick.
amazing.
He played their version of Dead Limit.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was sick.
Ears are destroyed.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for the
Yeah.
hardcore edit
The-
version.
The
Yeah,
from the
just
floor
the
one.
fucking
Yeah.
4 on the floor craziness one. But it was still great. He fucking slayed. Yeah, it was
I'm
wonderful.
glad you guys had.
Yeah, he was
him on
good.
that Show.
He was
Yeah.
good. He was fucking.
Exquisite DJing.
Yeah.
Yeah, his DJ skills were on point. Double dropping his ass off
Yeah,
up
having a
there,
great time.
swapping basses back and
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah,
sick.
yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
Let's
play
go.
Shows 24/7. So
We also AC and I and AT went to a fun little show.
Oh, yeah.
Owie, if you
Shout
guys
out
know
Owie.
that Denver legend, just threw his make some love for that dude.
that was a sick show.
Make some love.
That was fucking
Make some
Crowd.
love and noise some something.
some noise and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. He did his first
There.
his own curated event, I believe is what it was, called Space Jam.
He's
that's
the
right, yeah.
resident. I don't know how. I mean,
Is that what it is? He's the resident?
Yeah, I don't know how much. And this is not a dog. I just don't know how much he's like involved.
I don't either.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he curates it to some degree in terms of he gets to pick kind of the like talent to some degree.
Oh, okay.
But he's just kind of like signed into. It's just kind of a gig. He's just you play here every fucking month or whatever, and it's not like an Owie show.
Yeah.
It's an Owie residency, so it's like slightly different. If that
okay.
makes sense.
Yeah. It was sick though. The room was
Fuck
fun.
yeah.
That was the first time I've ever been in that
Where was it?
temple.
Level.
Oh,
Level, I guess, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Level
It was cool.
Sick. Isn't
Yeah,
it
the
way
lighting-
better than fucking normal temple?
Honestly,
I understand what you were saying about the awkward structure of Temple, but I do like the vibe of it.
Yeah.
the go-go
You like the
dancers that-
thousands of tables that are empty or
They weren't empty. They
filled
weren't-
with fucking
they
annoying
weren't
people?
Empty
Yeah.
when we were there.
Oh, you
I
guys
like-
like the big room?
I love the big room
Ew.
just because that's
Yeah.
my
I mean,
shit. Like
ew.
the
We
LEDs on
honestly-
every single wall.
They're
So
not
going on.
LEDs
gross.
though. That's the
Well,
problem.
whatever. It's
like
not LED. It's the
trash
lights.
light bulbs.
It is. Then they're all chunky.
Yeah, it's so
We
dumb.
honestly didn't spend a minute listening to.
We didn't.
anything
It was
there.
just walking through. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just-
But
Well, you had to. Yeah, you didn't.
I will
Tickets.
say, level that side room was fucking sick.
that place is
so
sick.
the
sick.
low
I do
ceiling
like
with the
that a
lights
lot.
on the ceiling.
Yeah,
Lights
those
on the
are
ceiling were
better.
tight. That was a great atmosphere. I definitely enjoyed it more than like what we saw in the main room, but the main room is still pretty sick, especially
Yeah.
with the go-go dancers. That was fucking
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
low.
you don't
there
see
was
that
shit
very
happening
much
in the
now.
main room.
Yeah.
There was actually.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's a
They had
problem.
a
That's a
whole
problem.
fucking thing going.
If you go when it's just level,
Right, you enter
the
through the
crowd is better.
Street. Yeah,
Okay.
You know, like the main room at Temple will inevitably have a bunch of fucking
douche canoes.
yeah.
It did kind of
Just
seem like
like
that. There
the
was some dude
worst
trying to
kind
get me
of
on
people.
his shoulders right in front of
Yeah, I mean, it's
the
not-
fucking decks, and I just had to keep
Like,
turning him down. Like, I'm not getting on
over-
your shoulders, dude. Like,
Yeah, that was
Somebody
a
was
whole moment.
asking you to get
Dude,
on
that was
their
a whole
shoulders?
moment. So
oh, yeah, I
we
thought he was trying to fuck for a sec because he kept on like pointing at me and was like kneeling down right in front of me. I was like, "What the fuck
He was.
is going
Yeah.
on?"
That's exact. He
Yeah.
wanted his dick on his neck.
Basically.
Your dick on his neck. That's
flop
what he
it
was
right
looking
on
for.
there. Yeah. We
Just
we
a little
like,
bit of junk, just
spent-
right there.
Oh yeah.
Just wanted to feel it.
Just warming up the neck a little, you know. We spent like 30 minutes just like
That's exactly
slowly
what he
easing
wanted.
our way up to the front.
Yeah.
And we finally got to the very front, like
This is ridiculous.
face to face with Owie, just like being goofballs, you know. And then out of nowhere, yeah, this guy comes up to. It was AT at first, and he like crouches down, and you can't hear him at all because we're right by the speakers and shit, you know.
this guy
And
big?
he's just like he was like Caleb size, but a little bit more like beefy, I'd say.
He was definitely fit,
He was fit.
Right.
so he could probably handle.
Yeah.
it.
Maybe he just wanted to get a couple squats in, you know?
Yeah, maybe,
But this-
maybe.
The problem is like the ceiling's low, so if he just stands up, and
So
you're like,
that's the thing, yeah. So he
Yeah.
finally, after he talks to AT and AT's like,
got
"Fuck no, get
somebody
the fuck
else
out of
to
here."
do it.
He talks to AC. AC's like, I can't hear you. I think you want to fuck me. I'm good." Like, and then some random guy, like 2 minutes later, we just look back and there's like some kid on his shoulders, just like having the time of his life, but his head is like right up against the ceiling. And he's like holding it.
He's definitely like bending his.
That guy was like, man, my butthole is going to be stretched later. It's going to be great.
Yeah, get to the bathroom. Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff.
yeah, levels. It's the problem with Temple Crowd, at least in my opinion, is it's a club. Like people, over 50% of the people aren't going for whatever the act is. They're just going to
Yeah.
be in a club.
That
They want to
atmosphere.
pretend like they're in Vegas.
Yeah,
That
they
has
just-
always
Yeah.
been kind of a weird
Yeah.
vibe for me going to these clubs.
Yeah, they
Because,
just
like,
well,
since
but Temple
I've been
specifically because
chilling
it's
with
a
you
bottle
guys, it's
service
like,
club.
I've been going to go see people that like I either know personally
Right.
or that I know like from listening to music.
Right.
Like Ross for Friends.
That you want to go see.
I wanted to see him.
Yeah.
So I saw him. But like you can definitely point out the people in that crowd that
Yeah,
are just
that are
like,
just-
we're just like
We're just there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And when
Some people want to go dance.
yeah,
And
which
that's
is
You know?
fine.
That's
fine.
great. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, that's how you find new artists and stuff like that. But when Temple's not open and Level's just open, and it's just a normal show just at Level, you have to enter through the street. That's
that's what you
so
were
much
telling us
better. Yeah, it's so
before.
much better because Temple's not even
it's
open.
more
Yeah.
underground.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
walk straight
the
down.
crowd ends up being that kind of a crowd.
Yeah.
Which is sick.
Yeah, it's
It is
way
a good
cool.
it is a good time when it ends up. That's why I like 1134. Like even
Yeah.
though you do get a lot of your like
It's a better vibe
club
for sure.
people there.
Yeah.
Like
It's a much
Yeah.
better vibe.
It's
Club
isn't it
Talk.
shutting down or something? Club Talk with the 400
knows?
boys.
right, yeah,
it
we
was.
haven't talked about
I don't know.
production at
Yeah.
all this whole time. Just
I know.
All clubs end at some point.
Yeah, that's true. All good things come to an end.
Yeah.
Well, what's some production things you guys have been up to lately?
Well, trying to not blow my mixes out making Ghetto Tech. That's been kind of a
Just
tough one.
Throw a
You know?
saturator on the master.
Exactly.
See,
Yeah.
I did that, and
I mean, don't saturate
the
it,
LUFS, they were too much at that point.
Right. Don't push the saturator. Just throw a
too much
saturator.
love.
Just literally turn it on.
many
Yeah,
LUFS.
just in front
Dude,
of
it was a lot. It
in
was a
front
lot.
of your limiter, so all your
Oh.
volume hits the
But you
saturator.
don't have it up at all.
No, you just push into it.
Oh.
So the saturator's not you're not driving the saturator. You're just
Okay.
driving the input into the saturator. The saturator's gonna chop all the hair off shit before it even hits.
Dude, should
The-
have
should clip.
fucking done that.
Limiter.
I just showed you
Yeah.
guys today. Then.
Yeah,
God damn
baby.
it, I had
and
that.
then
I had
if
that
you
thing
want a
on.
little more boost, then you can start driving it. But it's
definitely
got to be
don't.
very, you got to be careful.
Yeah, to
But
be
yeah,
careful because I
sure
think
do.
I think when I put the one trick you were telling me about having the saturator on your master at like 4 dB or something like that for like halftime music worked pretty well for me. But like then working on some of this stuff, the more like blown out, like distorted stuff. When I even put it up to 1 and I pushed the limiter up, I was already at like -4 for the LUFS.
Sick.
And
Yeah,
it was
just
like
cranked.
it was a lot. So I was like, I can't do that. I feel like it's just way too loud.
You can,
You can.
but I
yeah.
understand. I understand. It's a
get
little
that, yeah.
blown out.
It's more of just like a scary, like,
Right.
is this gonna hurt the ears when
Right.
it's on an actual like
No,
speaker system?
Probably not because it's just distorted.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
True. Yeah,
Um,
maybe I shouldn't be as scared of that stuff.
Right, but it might sound like shit.
That's another
Right,
thing
so
too,
there's
right?
the
So,
fine
yeah.
balance.
feels good at 7 LUFS, then I'll just leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But also,
Seven's
if
good.
If it
Seven's
feels good at
great.
4,
7 is usually what I go for.
I like 7.
nice.
7
nice.
or 6. 6 is like
healthy.
when
6 is
I'm
a little
like
much for me.
trying to actually kind of like just
Mhm.
blow it out. But if it
Yeah.
passes that, like 5 or 4, I'm like, there's something wrong.
That's fair. Yeah.
Or something right.
Well,
Just kidding.
yeah, I guess it
kidding.
kind of
I
depends
don't like-
on what you're making, right?
If I go into 6, I back it off.
Right.
6 is too.
That's kind
too
of
far
that's
for
kind of
me.
how I feel too. I had to tone mine down.
Can you guys hear me?
No, your mic.
Oh
lag
shit,
again?
your fucking mic just died.
Unplug it and plug it back in real quick. Folks, we're having slight technical difficulties here. All the way in.
Why is it hard?
Because it's tight.
Yo.
I
You
don't
want
think
to
that's coming
unplug
through.
him from the mixer and plug him back in? Folks, please excuse us. We're having slight technical difficulties. But when it comes to the loudness of things, yeah, 6 is, I end up losing dynamics and I can't get the fucking
Test,
vibe
test.
back. There
We're
he
good.
is. There he is, yep. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that mixer could be dying. Folks, if you want to help the Producer Lounge out, go ahead and sub, because we could use the cash to buy a new mixer.
That would be amazing.
Not even lying.
Yeah. That's our next step.
not even lying.
Is trying to buy a mixer.
You could also try to sub to Dave's OnlyFans.
That's a good
yeah.
one.
That's a good one, too. That also supports the channel.
Next
good-
week
some good
is the
content there.
firefighter full spread week. That's going to be
true.
a good one. You don't
That's
want to
gonna be
miss
good.
that.
Yeah, I sub for that one alone.
It's got the
Yeah.
pole and everything. You know.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we got photo fucking.
There's levels to it, you know.
Yeah.
I'll send you a little flavor stick with just like a piece of my asshole on there.
Nice, beautiful.
Just
You
wait
know,
until
so you
you
can just-
That's so considerate.
sub to tier 5.
Right, you got to be tier 5 to get
flavor
those.
stick?
That's where it gets good.
Yeah.
That's a Party B track in the making.
He also
I just basically like, I do a little
right, it's a swab.
Rub it around.
Little swab.
A little bit, yeah.
We also we're also in the making of custom incense sticks that are
Let's go.
made with our neck goo after 3 hours in the sun. So
yeah,
look forward to those, folks. Those are going to be invigorating.
it's an interesting.
It's going to be
smell.
fun. Yeah.
Almost smelling salts.
Almost.
So here's speaking of Spotify, or not. We didn't speak about Spotify, but speaking of LUFS, I was watching this interesting TikTok, and I was talking to Dave about it. This trick that this mastering engineer. Now he's a mastering engineer. Take that into consideration. He brings in people's mixes, usually for like albums or EPs, and like masters things together, or does it for like hip hop most of the time. So what he was talking about was for Spotify specifically, since Spotify wants like what, -12, -14 LUFS or whatever.
they
like,
go kind of quiet with it.
right, they'll just turn you down,
Yeah.
which isn't like the worst thing. Like when I'm listening to tracks on like my Discover or something,
No,
like
it's
I
fine.
can tell
It's
the
a little
difference.
awkward when you hop to SoundCloud or something like that. It makes you kind of
Right, and you can have normalization of audio on Spotify, so it's not as big of a fucking jump. But regardless of that, if you're shooting for that Spotify release, but you're making club shit like us or whatever, that's like -7, -6 and shit. What this guy did, because he's working on hip hop, that's also like loud as fuck with 808s and shit, and quite blown out to some extent.
808 day.
Shout out.
Oh, and the time is 808.
No, it's not.
Yep. Oh.
No,
Is that off?
That's the date. That's the date. It's 7:30.
Oh.
that's probably why it's 808 day.
Yeah. I know. I almost brought it up, and then I was like, wait, no, that's the actual date. So what this guy was talking about is he exports his normal track pushed with the limiter and everything. So let's say it's -6. He prints it in floating point 32-bit so that he can then bring that printed version back into the DAW, into a new project, turn it down so it starts hitting the -14. So he's doing basically what Spotify is going to do. Okay. And then he brings it down just like a skosh more so he can shelf up the highs to bring it up to -14. So he gets just a little bit of sparkle on top of this already kind of pushed mix.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm bringing this up because I don't really know how much like you could kind of do that in the initial mix. Like I don't know how cool of a tip it actually is. I think it's interesting, and he also kind of tucked the bottom end a skosh, But
Okay.
the top end boost from like 1K to 12K, he's gotten pushed by like 2 decibels.
Well,
And I was like, whoa, interesting. So it just brightens up the whole mix after he's turned it down, so Spotify will allow it.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's kind of like he's kind of like retroactively moved it down to the volume where Spotify's going to have it, so he can kind of hear. And then he's like, oh, it's too dark
Interesting.
when it's that quiet or
Yeah.
something.
So then,
yeah.
does he like do another mix of his song that's like
No.
normalized?
No, he'll
That's
just,
what I was gonna ask,
he'll
too.
just
Yeah.
do that EQ with that boost, and then
he
he'll
sends
throw
that.
one
into-
more limiter on there with True Peak on,
Okay.
just to make sure that nothing's going crazy. But he doesn't push it. He just has that to make sure there's no.
That's his master.
Yeah, it's his master's master.
Master's master.
Yeah.
Does he? So is that
Doing
like
it.
just for the Spotify release?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's because Spotify turns it down that much.
Okay, so
Like, so-
sneaky little Spotify trick.
Yeah, and because he's printing it at like floating point 32, though, while it's pushing into a limiter, once he brings it back in and turns it down, is that limiter like leaving artifacts of some kind? Like it's weird. Like it's a weird thing happening there. That
I don't buy it.
I don't necessarily buy it.
We have not
Yeah,
tested this.
No, we haven't.
I don't really know. I get the idea of lowering it just to hear what it sounds like.
Right, what
but
what
I
Spotify's
feel like
going to do,
there's
kind of thing.
Not much
I
of a
thought we
reason
did
after
test
that to,
this
like,
on a
release it like
podcast.
that.
Yeah.
We did not test
I'm not
this.
really sure.
No.
Oh,
this.
that exact thing. But we
Right.
tested the 32-bit export.
Yeah, I mean,
Didn't we?
you can just turn it down, and it just brings all the peaks back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, floating point is floating point. That's not the argument here.
Right. The argument is like,
Okay.
does it do anything to do what he does? Is that extra step anything good, or can you just bring
It
up
does-
those highs beforehand?
I don't
Yeah.
think it changes anything.
Does sound a bit
Yeah. I don't
know if it
tedious.
does. Yeah,
does sound
I
a
don't
bit
know.
tedious.
I think it's
Yeah, because the whole point of the 32 export is so that the peaks don't get fucked and everything. Like you can,
Right.
make it louder and quieter. So like, I don't
Well,
see
that's
the
not
point.
the point.
that not
The
the point?
32-bit export is not the point.
it's
The point
to
is
achieve the point.
right.
The point is turning it down to Spotify's level and then giving it a high shelf, so it's even crispier on like a phone or something. I mean, I guess if you had the ability to upload a file to Spotify
Only.
and a separate file to Apple Music,
Yeah.
because Apple Music turns down to -10 and Spotify downloads to -14.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Right.
you could tailor that Spotify one a little bit. But at the same time, like,
Right.
I guess where does it
Why?
end with how
Yeah.
Right.
many different
Correct.
places
Like,
you
why
have
does
to keep? Like, oh, for Apple now I have to do it to 10.
But it's
and
the
for,
same-
Like,
it's the same
SoundCloud,
thing
I have
as,
to
like-
just do it to whatever. Like,
Yeah.
right, it's a digital form
you
of
end up
like,
having, like,
how does
10
it translate?
10 different mixes of.
It's too bad we can't call his name out, so we can just actually shit on him.
Sure.
No, I think that for one thing, I always tell people this: just turn normalization off, and then it doesn't get turned down. It just is whatever the thing is.
Wait, what?
If you turn volume normalization off on Spotify,
as
then
a
it
person
doesn't turn
listening.
it down. Right, exactly.
Right,
You can
right.
change that in your settings. What it does do is try to give you an even listening experience by turning everything to
-14.
negative 14
Down or up.
LUFS.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, it's not. They're not changing anything.
No, they're
it's the
literally
same.
just turning it down.
And that's
That's why I don't
it kinda
think it
doesn't
makes a
seem like
difference.
It makes
Correct.
any sense. Is
Yeah.
because if
Yeah.
they're just literally turning your song down, then
Right, I don't-
Why should that have any effect on like the harmonics on your EQ?
It seems
or
like a
shit like that,
like
right?
a gimmicky thing almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's
It's
trying to
just
do
an-
that like
it's-
psychological,
it's
the
just an
high end,
extra step at
brighter
that
kind of
point.
thing, so it'll sound a little bit fuller or
But it's
in your
like,
face or
just
something.
do that before you print it, bro.
Yeah, you,
You
can
know,
also
like-
just do that.
But
yeah,
it-
definitely don't listen to those songs on a legit sound system. 'Cause
Right.
They're going to end up sounding
yeah,
like shit.
Yeah,
Right.
that too. Like it's gonna be way too
It's-
fucking quiet.
Guys,
Yeah,
we
if-
figured it out.
If you're having to do that, it's a little
Figured it
weird.
out.
No, it's all good.
It does just seem like extra steps. For
It is a nice little
something-
conversation.
Right. That's why I
Um,
brought it up. I was like, this is an interesting topic.
The
Yeah,
fun,
you may have people on the opposite end that are just like
sure.
so adamant on it. They're just
Sure.
yeah, of course.
I mean,
of
if-
course there are.
If you're I mean, I could maybe see it from like an analog background why you would do something like that.
Well, if you're a mastering engineer, you probably have an analog background.
Correct. So there's some
that too. Yeah.
So there might be some methodology to it where he's like, this makes sense, and you're like, well, we're in a digital realm and you did 32-bit, so that doesn't make any sense. Like
Right.
he might just be missing an obvious thing, or he's doing it on purpose, just being like, here's content. You know, like who knows?
Right.
Yeah, it may also be because he just mixes literally any type of music too. So he's got like a standard for literally all music
Right.
instead of just like EDM.
Well, sure.
like
I mean, the
dance
track he
music,
was talking
too.
about in the TikTok was a hip hop track.
Oh, okay.
So-
All right. So then,
It's,
yeah,
you know,
it's gonna just
it's whatever.
Maybe
kinda-
he's using it as an excuse to make the song sound better because they're too bright. You know, or they're too dark
He's-
because they're too dark.
He's toning
you know?
it down and then brightening it up a bit
Yeah,
so that
'cause
when it comes back up, it's not just fucking blood.
I will do a similar thing on my
that's fair.
masters.
That's absolutely fair.
Right.
Oftentimes, I'll do a similar thing on my masters where I kind of compress the highs, but then I bring them up a little bit.
Right.
And then I bring the lows down before I do a little
Is
bit
that
of
what
limiting.
Fresh Air is doing?
The
I don't
plugin?
know exactly.
The plugin.
It's-
Yeah,
I imagine
basically.
it's just an
That's
EQ type
I'm
thing.
pretty
pretty
much
sure.
what it's
Yeah.
doing.
Any
right?
air thing, it usually is either it has some kind of oscillator that's bringing in some kind of white noise.
Okay.
But most of the time, yeah, it's like compressing and bringing up.
Yeah.
Because I
Yours.
feel like
Pushing it
I
up a
barely
little.
use it, but it does help a little bit.
Mhm.
with certain
Yeah, I mean-
things on the master.
Yeah.
I just shelf my highs to death.
See, it's just the plugin's already
Yeah.
From
No, plugin's a gimmick.
I can use it.
for those who wonder about the Spotify LUFS thing and the argument behind wanting to keep your shit at 14 LUFS or whatever, which I don't agree with. The idea would be you are, if you're less dynamic with your song and you have it smashed and loud as fuck and it's hitting -7 LUFS and you're sitting there like, this shit sounds super loud. Well, if you sit it right next to a song that was mastered at -14 LUFS and it is more dynamic, then when your song comes on, it's kind of gonna feel a little bit quieter because it's been
Right.
turned down. Because LUFS is the sum of, integrated LUFS is the sum of loudness over time, right? So
Perceived, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's it's gonna sound a little bit quieter compared to somebody's song that is quieter because that one's turned up more technically,
Right.
but
Yeah, it's
it's not gonna sound as nice and compressed and saucy like a
Yeah.
real nice compressed, good, balanced mix will sound. You can still be dynamic at the same time.
yeah. Just make hard cuts. If you're concerned,
0, 100.
Yeah.
0, 100.
Dynamic.
0, 100.
binary. That was the only dynamics I need. Folks, if you're concerned about this, like you're wondering like where I should master my track at for Spotify, like I wouldn't be concerned
Yeah.
because Spotify
Doesn't
comes with the audio normalization default on. So anybody who downloads the app, it already is just everything's at 14 LUFS and they're not gonna hear any difference. They're not, and the layperson isn't gonna hear the difference anyways.
No.
So if you're concerned that they're gonna turn your track down, they will, and it's fine. Who cares? If the person likes your track,
Yeah,
they're not
that's-
going to be concerned that it's
I've
quiet.
done
They're just
that
going to
plenty
turn
of
it up.
times. There's some times where Spotify song still is
Yeah,
too
it's-
loud, and you're just like, oh, cool, just
Well,
pop it down like one on
yeah,
like one
yeah,
notch
I'll
on my
just-
phone.
Sure.
and
Yeah.
Now I'm
Right.
enjoying the song.
Yeah, it does.
So,
It's really easy.
in the moment, you don't think about it that much,
No.
and it doesn't really
I'm-
fucking matter.
I'm never, and
Yeah.
I'm a fucking connoisseur of fucking loud electronic music,
Yeah.
and that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm not like, ooh, this guy's track is louder. Like, there's occasionally at a show when I'm listening to people DJing and they play song A and then song B gets mixed in, and I'm like, this one's louder. You know, in moments like that, I'm paying attention. But in terms of Spotify, like easy listening or trying to find new tunes, like it is the
You're not
furthest
really
thing from my mind.
worried about it too
No,
much
totally.
as you
No.
are when you're at a club, and
Yeah,
there's
like, I
a
don't care.
noticeable difference.
And
even
at the
then,
club,
when it
I'm just-
happens, you're still
yeah.
having fun.
Yeah,
You're
I'm just
like,
noticing because
literally the only thing is, oh, this track is louder.
right. I'm just
You're
an
like,
animal
alright,
with
cool,
it, so I'm just like
whatever, just-
constantly dissecting the set.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
all
at the
it is.
club, now we're talking about the DJ's fault turn the thing up.
Also,
if
yeah,
it's
that
too
too,
quiet.
right? Yeah, you
They
gotta pay attention.
They
to the
can
trim.
fix that issue.
I am horrible at that with
Yeah.
DJing, checking
Well,
the trim, making sure the song
it's
is
part of-
right.
it's part of your
Sometimes I just
job.
fucking do it,
Yeah.
and I just always forget about
It's
that
pretty easy.
little thing.
Just look for that red line.
Yeah.
1/3 of your job is the mixer. It's right
yeah,
in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are the mixing
lot of it.
engineer.
So something I've been super pumped on the past like 2 months is it's the most simple little rack in existence, but AC and I have been using the shit out of it.
Oh,
Tits.
okay.
I have it like defaulted. Like every time I open a new audio channel or MIDI channel, it's just already like on there. I'm sure you can do that in other DAWs, but like
Yeah.
Ableton, you can like
I used to
default
do
it.
I used to do it in Ableton a lot.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's really good.
Shout out Resonant Language for this.
Shout out.
It's just like a simple utility rack that has it has like a volume macro to the little macro knobs and like a high cut and a low cut, a compressor, a saturator, and there's like a mid side and then like a like subs mono kind of knob.
It's like a channel strip.
It's a channel strip. It's
It
literally
is.
called
It is
RL
RL
channel strip.
channel.
Yeah.
Strip.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Is a
Yeah.
channel?
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, when you looked at a mixer, all of them had
Unbelievable, Austin.
yeah.
We're on the producer lounge right now. This guy doesn't know what a channel strip
I
is.
found this mind-blowing new concept that
Hilarious.
no one's ever done.
Well, you know,
I didn't know about it either.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
started in
Knew
the
it,
digital
knew it,
age
didn't know it.
100%.
I started in the
So-
digital age. But dude,
Right.
it's so nice.
It is.
If this has been a thing,
extremely useful.
Yeah.
I see why it's been a thing.
I hate
Dude,
it.
it's so good.
No, I
like
get
it.
it.
It's so
I used
good.
to do it all the time, and now I hate it. 'Cause
Why?
I only want the plugin I need. That's it. Everything else is
Well,
CPU
everything's-
usage. I
Everything's
don't
off.
need it.
So
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah, but
doing
I don't.
anything.
It's
you can just even
it's
turn
there.
It off.
I don't want it there.
In Ableton, it's kind of doing things.
No, because you can set it up in Ableton where if the knob is all the way at the bottom,
It
can be
turns off. Right,
until
right.
you hit that like one of the 127.
Sure.
Then it turns on. Yeah, so it
but
is
it's just
no
clutter.
CPU.
It's clutter. For
That's
for
fair.
me.
I
It's
don't
clutter
think
for
it's
me.
clutter. I think it's ease of access instead of typing
So
in
ease of
saturator
access,
or
yeah.
Well, that's because you guys work in
compressor or
Ableton, and the browser's trash.
It's not
So-
trash.
Fine.
In Bitwig,
It's
you right click and
fine.
click, and you have your set.
Okay, that's insane for sure.
I'm just dogging. No, channel strips are fucking great. I mean,
Yeah,
Travis swears he has
Yeah,
a
Travis been
Waves
doing it
one that he
forever.
uses all the
okay.
time
Oh.
that he fucking swears by.
Apparently, there's a sick ass Andrew Sheps one.
Okay.
I haven't fucked with it. He had one before,
Shout out, Shep.
and I think he has a newer one. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
Let's find
Andrew
out.
Sheps has a cool one. It might be a Waves one.
I think it is a Waves one. I think you're right.
Your fucking mic went out again. I think it's that channel on the mixer. It might be getting a little bunky.
Huh.
I do have
Yeah, just unplug it, plug it back
an
in.
extra mixer at my house that I don't use for
How many
anything.
channels is it?
It's like
Yeah, we're good.
10.
Bring it over.
It's
if
got
you don't mind.
it's got XLR on it and everything.
I thought you were talking to me. I was like, what?
For each
Yep.
input too.
Oh, okay.
So it should
Yeah, just
All right.
bring it over next
yeah,
time.
I don't have anything plugged into it right now.
Word.
So I'll definitely bring that
Yeah,
shit over.
if you don't mind, that would be slick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fucking channel strips are sick. I've been so hyped on it for the simplest little things, and it makes me realize how much I just use just like automating volume and like high and low pass just for those simple moments. And you're like,
Yeah,
"Damn,
see,
it's
I'm
just
still
right there."
kind of a butt, and I don't use the high and low pass on it at all, and I'll just still use Pro Q
Omni Channel
That's fair.
2. Okay,
You
yeah,
could-
so
you could
there's
just
a
make
newer
your
one.
own
$40
with a
Oh,
preset with
no.
Pro Q on it if
That's
you want
fair.
it.
folks.
Yeah. I don't know, everything that works for me right now with it, like just saturator and compressor, and I don't have to search it up. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, it's already there. And then if I just need to do any like, oh,
There we go. Sorry about that, folks.
Instantly.
Wow, it's $40 right now.
Wow.
Holy
dude.
shit! And
Should
look
buy
at
Oh
this.
wow,
thing.
it's
Like that is a channel strip,
Not-
boys.
knocked down from 150.
That's a sick ass fucking channel
Jeez.
strip. Ships is the man.
It's fucking
This guy
crazy.
is sick as fuck.
Is that the dude on the top right?
Yes, he's the absolute.
Why does he look
Is
like
that
Rick Rubin?
Rick Rubin's fucking brother? Yeah.
He's like Rick Rubin, but he actually
knows
produces.
what
Yeah.
he's doing. He actually knows what he's fucking doing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Omni-channel is a good name.
Look at him using Pro Tools and shit.
like a pro.
He's a pro.
Why is this here?
I can't believe channel strip is a thing. I'm mind
So
blown
what do
by
we
that.
got here? We got a low pass and a
makes
high
sense.
pass.
Yeah.
Oh, these are pre. We got
All
a
the-
pre-saturator and a pre-high pass,
Filter.
low pass. Yeah, a filter. We got a gate, de-esser, EQ, and a compressor. Are these all pre? Can you choose what goes where? You can do mid-side on everything. You can do duo on everything, and
It's
you
kind
can
of
do
a sick that
stereo
it
on
has a
everything.
de-esser on it too.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
That's a big one, right?
See,
there.
I'd rather use a channel strip like this that's one thing
Yeah.
personally than like
Yeah.
all my stock plugins that are in a group because I hate.
Well, see, that's the reason why the channel strip that we use isn't that big of a deal because it is literally just the one thing. It only has like 8 knobs on it.
Right, but if you want to fuck
It's
with
got
shit,
a bunch of
Jesus.
things in it.
Damn. his
Yeah, but if you
fucking
want to
mic
fuck with it,
keeps
you gotta
going
like
out.
double click a bunch of times and open it all up, which drives
No,
me nuts.
I don't have to. It's literally all.
Yeah, but if I want to change, the macros or change anything, I got to open it all up.
sure, but honestly, I haven't ever really come across a point where I did want to change.
Right, but
It just kind of works enough where I'm fine with it, and
sure. I mean, this is just me. If it
Fair,
works for you, that's fine. This is just my problem with it. I'd rather have something where everything, I can see everything all at once.
I mean,
I
yeah,
want-
I am sure something like that that's way more in depth like that would help better.
I mean, maybe. I have another chord we can try. AC, quick, talk alone. No, I'm just kidding. I won't leave you here alone.
Just give me that weird fucking wavy thing. I'll do
Tap
that.
on it.
Hello.
No.
Dang shit.
Is it pushed in all the way?
That shit.
Yeah, that's pushed in all the way.
Damn.
Wow, folks, we're having some push. Wow.
Hello.
Oh,
There we
there it
go.
works.
Weird.
Something.
Huh.
Guys, we never should have moved out of our Greendale studio.
I know.
Apparently, this spot is cursed.
No, it's not cursed. It's just hiccups.
Hiccups, yeah.
Um,
Every new spot has been a hiccup at some point, so.
Right. Yeah, this is an interesting channel strip here. If you want a Waves plugin for cheap, fucking $40. I see my problem. Like, I wouldn't even buy this because, like,
I don't think I would.
I
even
don't-
Buy that,
I wouldn't buy that
honestly.
either.
I don't.
It doesn't seem like I would ever
Like,
use that much.
I don't even like the Bitwig stock filter. Like,
There's
I'm
like-
particular with each thing, kind of. And
There's
I'm
like
just,
30 knobs and like 4 faders on that, and I don't think I would.
This guy's
Oh,
a
it's
mixing
easy.
engineer a lot of the time in his workflow. So for him, this works great because
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
when
it's
you're mixing,
specific for him.
you pull up all your tunes. He probably has one of these on every single one of his fucking channels.
Yeah.
And then you just sit there and you go, a little less of this, needs a little more compression. And then you move to the next thing. And then you do
Yeah.
the same thing. It's like the old slingshot method we've
Right.
talked about
Yeah.
before.
One plug-in to
Right,
basically
right.
do all of that.
Yeah. And then you don't have to like,
One
you really
plugin
don't
to
need
rule
much
them all.
else.
yeah, as a mixing, you
You haven't
need.
even seen those fucking movies.
I know. Fuck.
I mean, as a mixing engineer, you really just need levels. But
Now-
like
Yeah.
any minor things beyond that, like that's where a channel strip is its thing. What's going on here? Are you underwater?
What are you doing?
I'm underwater now. My
Oh, you're fucking.
Why'd you go so
stand.
hard on that?
The stand.
I'm not going hard. That's just how it sounds.
You're just breaking your shit.
No, but
over
why'd you
and
go
over
hard
over
to
here.
where you have to tighten it again? What
Oh, I
happened?
don't. I'm just hyped tonight.
Oh, okay.
Hyped to have my buddy on the podcast.
Fuck yeah.
DJ fucking battle too.
yeah. Now that I think about it, I can't remember exactly. AC, if you saw it, I think Ghost House actually uses this exact one. So that kind of makes sense because
I think he does.
Yeah.
because he's a huge mixer guy, and
I was wondering
is-
why it looks so familiar.
Dude, his studio was fucking insane. I know,
was-
kind
it
of
was
a
good.
side tangent.
Shout out
but
Ghost House.
Shout out
that
Ghosty
guy's
boy.
studio was professional as fuck. He literally recorded me playing the drums in like a second and
Sure.
isolated.
It's all mic'd
That's
up.
fun.
It's all
It's
ready to
fucking
go.
sick, dude. It's so cool. It's
Yeah.
like my indie boy fucking fantasy.
I know, literally,
of, like,
yeah.
just being able.
I could
to-
tell you were so excited.
dude. It's sick. Like
Yeah.
if we had that shit before, I don't know. It's insane. But like
you wouldn't have even gone electronic. Ooh.
maybe. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah.
But I think it's really cool that like these dudes do just have like a very streamlined process for how they end up mixing like a wide variety of genres.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just to make them like nice and level or not peaking too much or something.
It's kind
like
of
that.
how you mix. Like mixing is that.
Yeah, it's
There's not
crazy.
really a lot more that you
it's-
do.
It's like a weird mindset, I guess. Like I don't know if you guys feel like this, but it is definitely a weird mindset for me where it's just like, you know, you're a producer, you're like song arranging and everything like that, making the whole track, but then also thinking about the mixing. And then on the other hand, you have these dudes that aren't doing any of the songwriting stuff. They're literally just recording the people. And then their whole job is to just mix the track and like do the best that they can to make sure it's like just good in the mix. And that has to be, it just feels like wildly different from like the way that we end up doing a lot of our stuff, because we're focused on like, we're like hyper focused on everything. This dude is just hyper focused on like one thing.
Yeah.
So it has to be like so fine tuned that like I probably wouldn't even hear any of that stuff at that point.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I would also argue though that like when you've been doing stuff as long as, you know, Dave and Caleb and certain guys,
you
like
get like a certain edge for that. And that's what was really
like
cool.
you're like a mix engineer and a mastering engineer in my eyes. Like
you
like
guys
you're
do
at
know
that
your
level
shit.
without a doubt, you know.
Sure.
And then you also have the added, I can also songwrite and make a beat and do sound design and fucking sing occasionally when I want to, and like
definitely
whatever
a good like height to try to reach.
Yeah.
Because
do you consider yourself a mix engineer? Would you call yourself that?
I feel like
you can pay for my service.
Yeah, exactly. If people are paying him to mix their
always400.com.
songs, then he's a mix engineer, and people have done that before.
People have done that,
so
and they were very happy with the results. Going dark.
I think it's the mixer.
Yeah, I think that.
And we have
I think
8
that
minutes.
thing's fucked. We do also only have a little bit of time left. It must be pretty hard to be an actual mixing engineer, though.
We're good.
Oh,
God, that was the worst noise to make into that. All 4K.
I mean, being a mixing engineer all comes down to like an idea of frequencies and volume and what the interplay between all the things, kind of what the effects are between all of those things.
Aside from all the mixing, I think
so. It just takes years.
Have a bit of a disconnect from what your favorite genre is, to just being biased to mixing a song well enough for what's there, even though you might not like that specific genre.
Well, yeah, I mean, depends on if you're trying to make it a day job.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what Ghost House is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's what that dude does. Like he mixes people's music on a regular basis, and he doesn't really worry about the genre too much. Whereas personally, for me,
I mean,
I feel like I'd have
could
a kind of a hard time with it.
You had to listen to that one
If I had to mix a
song.
pop punk song, I might have a pretty hard time.
And listen to that for 8 hours.
It's gonna take 2 hours to mix the pop punk track. There's a guitarist, a bassist, a drummer. The drummer probably has 3 mics, and the singer. So you're like, it's really like less than 10 channels.
Yeah.
There's no effects happening besides like maybe some reverb.
Yeah.
Like,
It's also just interesting to
pretty
think
easy.
about the ear
good
that
point.
those people have for being able to mix like a wide variety of different genres too. Like that's got to be kind of like the hardest thing in my opinion, is like being able to know specifically like what a pop punk track should be mixed to.
references. You just reference constantly.
Yeah,
You just reference like a madman.
It's kind of like the
You're
artist's
just probably
choice.
listening to that
Like,
shit all the time.
no,
right?
I would
Whoever's
say all
like
the time.
recording their
Then you'll
song,
get
if they're like,
saturated.
blow it out, make it like a Skrillex level loud, like maybe you do that. Or if they're just like, nah, just keep it, just do your thing. You just kind of mix it how you want. Like,
So
I don't think it's that.
I feel like as like a mixing engineer, you wouldn't want to just literally do everything that the artist is telling you to do.
I feel like that's your whole job, unless they tell you not to.
But your job is
Yes and
also
no.
to mix
Yeah.
it so that it sounds good.
Exactly. But that's why you're like, okay, I can just mix it. But like, if they're like, no, I want to mix this way, then you go, okay, well, you're paying me.
okay,
Fucking, I
sure,
gotta
right,
do whatever the
correct.
fuck. Yeah.
If they're very adamant and they're just
Yeah.
like, do it this way,
Do
then
it
you're
this
just like,
way.
All right,
You're
fine,
like-
I guess I'll just do that then.
So, in this book, I have the art or the Zen art of mixing by Mixer Man. Shout out Mixer Man.
That sounds sick.
He basically describes it as like it is the balance of making the song the best the song can be, objectively.
And pleasing the client.
And
Yeah.
pleasing the
Objectively.
client.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So
like-
not hurting your ears or
like, just
doing anything wildly
Right.
different than
Right.
like a normal mix would.
And
be.
like, does the emotion carry through the track? This and that. Like, obviously the producer has to do his job before that, like getting the band hyped, making sure he does good takes of everything. But then the mixing engineer has to just take those takes and make them the best they can possibly be. Whether it's through levels, automation, all that kind of stuff. But then there's the other half that you just said, pleasing the client.
Right.
Yeah.
Balancing frequencies is not very objective. Or is it
not
subjective?
Yeah, it's not very subjective.
I feel like-
Subjective is opinion. Objective is like fact.
Right.
Objective, then, yes. It's not. There's not much of an opinion with the balancing of frequencies. They work together.
Or they don't.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there definitely is a right
you
or
mix,
wrong at that point.
and
you
then
know?
if they think that it sounds one way or another, then you just, all right.
You
Slightly do a fucking
Right. You go
little
objective,
adjustment.
and then once it's objectively good, then the band is like, I want the hi-hats louder here, or this or that, and you start subjectifying it a little bit till they're happy.
See, that sounds like a good mix.
Yeah.
Of both of them, you know.
Literally.
And if you're good at your job, like you should be able to just like nail it pretty close right out of the get-go, because if people give you quality stems, like if the producer gives you good shit, then it should be pretty obvious where the emotion goes in the track. And you're like, especially if it's like less than 10 tracks or like less than 20, that's fucking easy.
Yeah.
Like once you get into like 50 tracks and more, like a normal electronic track, then it's like, all right, I gotta only work for 2 hours and then step away because I'm just gonna get saturated because there's too much shit.
Definitely have the hardest time mixing like left field bass music.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit happening.
Like
You gotta
songs
keep it simple as fuck.
Just doing a house song.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I would love to. I've always wanted to experiment one day with like sending my track to a mix engineer just to see how it would compare to like my way of doing things, Always wanted to do that. I just haven't commit to it yet, but one day. And actually, I want to do that with you guys as well. I want to send you guys one of my tracks and just see.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, we've talked about it. We'll make it happen one day. One of these days. But
Well,
Lightning round?
lightning round.
let's do it.
Yeah, it's almost 8, so got a little bit left time. A little time left.
Well, I only have 2, but
I'm
with
coming
something.
up with a third. I'll come up with as we go.
AC,
Dave,
you want to
got
come
anything?
up with a
No.
lightning round
A
question
lightning round?
on the spot
Shot, bro.
while he's coming up with his?
Objective is observable facts and evidence, John says. Subjective is self-based feelings and thoughts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Facts and opinion. That's a good way to put it, though.
Balance is something that you can be objective about.
Yep.
The client will have their subjective feelings about that.
Mm-hmm.
Done and done. Thanks, John.
There.
Love you.
Thanks,
Love you, John.
John. We need a restraint sound effect whenever he pops in and drops a knowledge bomb.
These are both nice questions. They're tough. They're nice. They're good.
Let's go.
I like them. First question. Which we kind of talked about already. Do you, when you're printing your track, do you care at all about like Spotify levels?
Mm-hmm.
Personally, there were a couple tracks in Mona Lisa where I liked them at like -12, -14 where they were. And I also wanted to try to see what they sounded like, upload it to Spotify, and then do one at like -8, upload it to Spotify, play them back to back. How do they sound?
Mm-hmm.
There's no difference when they're on normalized. When they're not, when you don't have the normalization on audio on, it's
Then there's a
fairly
difference.
apparent. Yeah, it just gets louder.
I mean, that's very good to know. That,
Yeah.
Like, that's an actual thing that Spotify does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't really care. I just make the track.
I don't
Yeah,
care.
I would say I don't care either. I mixed -7 LUFS, and that's usually where I go for. So that's good for me.
I don't care either. There was a phase when I was trying to figure out loudness and how to like control that, and there was a time where I cared like, how do I just push to -6? Like, am I capable of that? And then you learn how to do it. And then now I'm at the point where it's just like wherever the mix just lands and I'm happy with it, then I check the LUFS, and it's like as long as it's not like -16 somehow, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever the fuck it is, cool.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't even learn about it. I think I just like was just really dumb with how I put distortion and saturation on my tracks. And shit
So it was just cranked.
like -5 and 6, and I'm like, I was just like, okay, this is a lot. It needs to be toned down a bit. But
Sure.
I do generally like going for -7.
Nice. Yeah. John has a really good point that I agree with. He said, I'd rather try to be consistent with my own music
Yes.
foremost
Yes.
before worrying about stream LUFS. He also says, i.e. an EP matching loudness before worrying about the exact numbers it should hit for Spotify. That's
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
400% even.
Speaking of EPs, John.
Release it.
EP.
Next question. Ghetto Tech or Moombatone?
Oh.
You have
That's so
answer.
easy. That's so
You have to answer. I'll say Moombatone.
Get
Oh, let's go.
I'm gonna go Moombatone.
I'm gonna go Moombatone too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What is wrong? No.
Moombahton
What
is
is wrong with
reggaeton
you?
slowed down. Okay.
Yo, crazy.
I just did it to play devil's advocate. I thought everyone was going to choose Ghetto Tech.
Nah.
Nah.
You knew what I was.
I don't.
Yeah.
I barely like
Ooh.
Ghetto Tech.
I'm
John's-
kind of there too. Yeah.
John says Moomba Tech.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm about
god
to.
damn.
New genre
We're
unleashed.
gonna start
Yeah.
fucking Moombahton
Moomba
and Ghetto
Tech.
Tech in
Dude, we
this
just
shit,
leveled
dude.
up,
Let's
son.
go,
Oh
dude.
shit.
Damn.
Moomba Tech Night. Space Jam. Owie, hit us up.
5 producer hot seat with AT down
That's
there.
right.
Next track.
-2 LUFS or -12 LUFS?
Oh,
-12.
yeah. I feel like -12 makes more sense. -2 sounds so fucking loud. It's
Negative
very loud.
two.
Shit.
Yeah,
You'd go -2?
Hell
I
yeah.
did.
Dave does. Yeah. He has.
See, I don't know. That's a hard thing. I feel like I haven't done
do.
either of those, so I don't know what the loudness of.
Thank
both
you,
of them
John.
No, I
are.
bet you first couple of mixes were
John's
probably
with
like
me on
minus
this
12
one.
kind of thing.
John's with you on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah, they were probably, but
Right.
-2,
-12 is
that's,
quiet as fuck.
I'm gonna go
No.
-2 also.
All right. Okay.
Loudness game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like.
I'd rather louder than quieter for
Yeah,
sure.
it's like, would you rather have your house at 100 degrees or 30 degrees? It's like,
Exactly.
what? I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. They both suck.
Yeah, -4.5 is doable. -2 is like, now we're just doing it for novelty.
-4.5
Skrillex.
specifically.
Yeah, it is quite specific. Here's your
That's a-
page
that's a
back
hard
because you're
one,
running out of pages over there.
I like to hit -4.37 LUFS.
These are all your past.
Oh
pages,
my
actually.
god.
Here's all your fucking paperwork, bitch.
Please file that with the appropriate office. Next question. How much would you pay for someone to mix your track
Oh, jeez.
at the most? Austin's holding up a penis.
What?
Yeah.
To mix, I'll go first.
How much
So
would I pay?
childish.
Let's say what's the most I would pay for
What's
an
the
average
most?
mix.
Okay.
I would pay,
For an average mix?
well, just like any one of my tracks, like it's not a special song I'm trying to release, but I'm still just going to send it to my killer mix engineer. Like whatever. I'm not really
The
concerned.
most.
Yeah, and I'd probably say
Oh, the most.
the most I would spend is like $200 probably if the guy is just
Yeah, that
a don.
Sick as fuck.
Yeah.
Mix?
Okay.
because like
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I feel like
I'm
let's-
leaning more on
Let's
John's.
say mix and master.
I'm
Yeah,
leaning more
okay, full
toward.
package.
John goes 1,000.
Well, that's different.
1,000?
Different. We're talking. I'm not
You'd
talking
You'd pay
about.
1,000?
I'm
From
not
one-
talking about a learning experience. I'm talking. You send it off. He just mixes it, sends it back. You don't.
You
There's
get-
no.
you get the one-way
there's
file.
No,
See, this
yeah,
is
there's no
kind of the thing
communication.
Yeah.
we were kind of wondering about.
I think $200
Ghost House
is cheap.
Yeah.
Mixing.
Mhm.
I honestly like
$0.
200 is cheap, you think?
It does. It does.
Yeah,
sound,
I
it does
yeah,
sound kind
I-
of cheap. Let's
yeah.
like for example,
God.
let's imagine we want to go into Ghost House, the studio, and record something. Dude has like,
That has nothing to do with mixing.
Fucking-
What are we talking about?
well, he's also mixing his tracks.
Right.
He's
But
mixing the
now
tracks
we're
after
recording
recording
and
it.
mixing, huh?
I mean, if you're going and recording in a studio, that,
Okay.
I'm not talking
All right,
about.
I'm-
Yeah,
recording.
we're saying just
All right,
mixing.
I'm going
now.
600.
600? What
Yeah.
the
600?
fuck?
Yep.
That's a month rent for me. I don't know if I can justify that.
Right.
But that's fair if you can. If you can.
yeah,
No,
I don't know.
send it.
I'd be pretty low.
I mean,
with, like,
I'm not paying for people to do my mixes.
right.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
just saying the most
right.
Most you would pay?
for a regular mix.
And
God.
a lot of people like they charge either a lot or they charge by like the song minute. Like they'll charge like $100 per minute. So if the song's 6 minutes, that's $600.
Yeah.
Like that's just
Fuck. I
that's,
think I think the most I would go, the most is like 200, maybe 250 if it was like a guy
Right,
really
and that's
liked.
and to be fair, the
I
question's
kind of feel the same.
the
Yeah.
question's not very good. I could have been like, how much would you pay for Andrew Sheps
Yeah.
to mix your track?
Or like
It's a very
resonant
specific person.
language.
Yeah, because there's
Right.
a lot
Like
of there's a
whatever
lot of
guy.
different people with
Right, there's a lot of nuance there.
studios that have
But on-
different qualities.
But
of sound.
personally, if it was somebody I didn't know, but somebody, they're a professional, regardless if I know them or not, I would only pay up to $200.
That's fair.
Personally, right now.
John, how much would you charge me if I paid you to mix one of my tracks? I'm curious.
It depends.
Because if anyone were to mix one of my tracks, it would be
$10,000.
like a John or a Resi Lang or like a
you guys.
Resi Lang.
Resi Lane.
What is a
Resi
guy
Lang
like that?
Lang, dude.
John goes free for Austin, obviously.
Oh my
The-
man.
The problem is $200 is just not enough money for the time
Correct,
that
for
it
the
costs.
mixer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
It's not fair.
I wouldn't
Much of
want
it
to
at
pay
that
someone $200 for a mix just for their sake.
Yeah, I would
Because
feel bad
I don't
too.
think it's enough money to do a mix for someone.
Right.
You
It's
can
like,
also kind of relate it to like you want somebody to do your whole porch concrete porch for like $200, right?
Well, yeah,
You're
I
not
mean,
paying enough for the work that's
that
being
and like
done.
$200 is about 2 hours. Like
Yeah.
if it's a
Yes.
pro on the low end of pro.
Yes.
Like if I was a pro,
Yeah.
like if I had credentials, I'm not charging under $100
Oh
For an
yeah.
hour?
an
No.
hour. Like there's
Right.
no way.
Yeah.
And if you
It's
think
ridiculous.
like, let's say for some reason it does take like 8 hours to mix it, like I would feel kind of bad giving someone $200 for like an 8 hour
Well,
day.
yeah.
and
Well, there's
doing
there's,
that.
there's a lot like you think about like how well is the studio? How much did it take and how much did it cost to even fucking build the studio that you're getting your song mixed in?
There's a lot of variables.
Could've
How
been
long has he been doing
fucking,
it?
Like tens of thousands of dollars.
Does he have ears like Victor? Like, and he's like,
Right?
"Oh, I'll mix your track, dude."
Yeah, that you can't.
That's dude. Can Vic be the 400 mix engineer?
Sir.
That'd be great.
He does well.
No, he does fine.
He does amazing.
It does sound
Visuals help.
Yeah.
John says a good point. He'd want it to be collaborative, which yes, that is
Yeah.
the
Right.
That is
Yeah.
the golden goose of this question. Is
You definitely want to be involved in the mix and
right. If I'm sending my track off to Andrew Sheps, I'm also going to pay him a little bit extra to see if I can come out and just hang out with him in the studio as he
sure.
mixes it.
yeah.
Like I'm not going to pay him $1,000 just to have him send me a track back. Like no, I'm going to pay you $3,000 so that I can come out there
and actually see what you're fucking doing
And
on
hang
that
out with you.
shit.
Yeah,
'Cause
right,
You could just
right.
literally be like fucking doing some dumb, simple shit on the track, and I have no idea
right.
what's
And
going on.
he brings up a
And then
good
you
point.
just send me a track, and I spend fucking $1,000 on a track that you literally just like limited a little bit or something like
right. John brings
That's
up
my fear. That's my fear.
that, right?
What did
John brings
bring
up another good point. You're not necessarily paying for the equipment. You're paying for their ear that took 40
Yeah,
years to
yes,
train.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Okay,
You know?
that is another
Exactly.
thing too. See, I feel like the equipment would help if you were in the studio too.
It's their
And
ear
you're
and their
there with
time.
with
Yeah.
the equipment.
Yeah.
And they're mixing like movie scores for like $20K.
Yeah.
You know, so like your
Yeah,
$1,000 is silly. Goodbye.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a good point.
But
it's a good point.
anyway, it's not a very good question, but a good question in terms of the amount of thought it provoked.
yeah, it sparked debate. So
Um,
good question.
folks,
AC, did you get a question?
No, I did not.
all
Wow, dude. Wow.
are you sure?
Okay, we gotta go. We got DJ battle to get to.
We do.
We're
Oh, and
already-
we missed.
We're already past our limit.
We missed 808
We didn't
time.
hit
I mi-
808.
That's okay.
Oh shit! I looked at the clock when it was 8:08. God
Folks,
damn.
All
Did you?
happy 808 day.
Shouts and happy International Cat Day.
Yep.
That's a thing
So
apparently.
that too.
Happy,
Cats are
uh,
important.
Episode 118. Thank you, Von Klaus.
Thank you for being here,
coming
buddy.
out.
This is always good.
I'm literally always here.
What's your Spotify or what's your SoundCloud?
Just Von Klaus.
Just at Von Klaus? There's no underscore?
No, it's just Von Klaus.
Folks,
Whoa,
you heard it here first.
Just dunking on the guest, Jesus,
No,
Dave.
no, I'm not a guest. I
Quick-
literally live here.
Yeah, you're basically part of the 400 gang. You are part of the 400 gang
Quick shout out. If anybody's in Denver and watching this live,
right now.
go to the Black Box by 9 o'clock tonight. And
We'll be
there. you
there.
go.
you'll
Yeah,
see our boy.
we will
us,
literally be there.
And Aeon
Yeah.
Voyage. He's doing a DJ battle.
Your
Yeah.
boy,
Black Box.
Your boy, us.
So that's why we did an early episode this week.
You guys want autographs? They'll sign it. Kyle, Aeon
true.
Voyage, he'll sign it. He'll
That's
sign
true.
your tits. Like, they're down.
That's it. All right, folks. Thank you so much.
Goodbye, everybody.
We will see you next week.
Bye.
We love you so much.